So before I begin the demo review, I want to make a huge shout out to Insight for hooking me up with a YouTube intro, which will be in the future videos. And another huge shout out to our sponsor, Neckbeard Gaming. There will be a link in the description to their community page. It's a up and coming gaming community. They're sponsoring my CSGO team, so go check them out. And as usual, Zilmerta Insight, I'm doing your demo review, and we'll just get right into it. Well, actually, before I begin, uh, there's a few things I wanted to go over or just mention real quick. You're kind of inconsistent on your utility buying. There's some rounds where you'll buy molly, smokes, flashes, and there's other rounds where you don't. You re-peak things a little too often. You're really aggressive, which is not a bad thing. But you have to just be aware or be able to play a little bit slower, right? You don't want to go for a re-peak in certain situations. You get punished for that, and you'll see that here in a second. You do a good job in buying eco weapons, which is something I often overlook on these demo reviews. I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but we'll go over that really quickly here in a second. Your situational awareness, it's kind of off. I'm not sure if you have your mini map zoomed out. There's a way to get your mini map to be zoomed out like this. It'll still be in like a circle shape, but you're able to see the entire map if you like. And on your CT side, you don't buy armor for your pistol round, and the lack of utility. There's really not much to say on your CT side. You get trolled and you end up losing the game, but that's an entirely different topic. But we'll get right into it.
Let's go.
Your AFK on your pistol, you run down mid here on your second round. If you don't get a bomb plant, I think you've told me that you do watch a lot of pro games. The current meta is if you do get a bomb plant on your pistol round on T side, you have the option of force buying SMGs and doing something kind of aggressive, depending on the map and who your opponent is, or you can just completely save and go buy on the third round with AKs and with some limited utility. If you don't get a bomb plant, you can just armor pistol on your second round, and then of course you can still buy on your fourth. So you guys don't get a bomb plant, and you guys don't force here. I think it's just one guy with a pistol. You don't buy anything, so just keep that in mind. You can actually force on this second round if you don't get a bomb plant. And with a pistol, you want to play to the weapon's strength, right? So if you have a Tech 9 or a P250, you typically don't want to run down mid on any map, especially without utility. Of course, if you on Mirage or something, if you smoke top mid and somebody has a smoke for like connector, you can do something like a quick mid to B or like a B split. But without utility and with no upgraded pistol, this is just a suicide. And so carry over to almost every map: Cache, Mirage, here on Dust 2. Not really on Cobble, not really on Overpass. You have a few more options on Overpass, but any map where there's like a heavy mid presence or there's a mid that you absolutely need to take control of on your T side, that'll play a very significant role. And even on your CT side, if you're force buying pistols on your CT side, you typically don't want to try to contest rifles and SMGs down mid. You would probably want to smoke bin and try to go for a stack or some sort of like push play on one side of the map. We'll skip this round. I think you guys force out a buy in this round, if I remember correctly. No, you don't. Again, it's just an eco kind of messy, not much to say. Here in this situation, you play it correctly. You give space to your teammate to fall back. I'm not sure if you were also trying to avoid the nade stack or if it was a combination of the two things. But you played this correctly. You gave your teammate room to fall back. You avoided any sort of nade stack. What your teammate should have done here is if you have this long spawn, you never want to stop in the door, right? Unless you're opting and just going for a really quick pick. If you have a rifle and you have a teammate behind you, like the best thing you can do is just jump out through these doors and try to get behind blue bin. And of course, you're flashing over. You can smoke the corner if you like. That way, your second guy or the guy behind you can uh, trade you or like give you some support. So if you stop in the doorway, the second guy can't help you at all. There's no way to really like trade that. You can also get collateral, then this just becomes a big mess. So don't stop in the doorway. But you play this correctly, you trade this guy, or you kill this guy, and then you spot the guy car here in a second. Play this really well as well. You're just patient. You don't really force the issue. You let this guy run out. It's an easy kill. You also play the rest of this round out pretty well. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if it was intentional. It's just a matchmaking game, but you're delayed long enough for your teammate to get over into B and plant the bomb. You also grab another kill, which is great. You guys end up winning this round. Bombs planted at B. Nicely played. And a quick thing about last round. I don't know if you noticed, but you had, I think it was over 2,000 last round, and you didn't have any nades. You could have definitely made your life a lot easier by just mauling the guy out of car instead of waiting. And you could also smoke the cross here. You could have flashed up. You could have probably worked a few more kills and just made that round a lot easier to win. And that's what I meant by you don't really use your utility as consistent as I would like to see. Some rounds you buy, some rounds you don't. It's a nice play, a nice pop flash. And you hit him with some BM here. You got a pick here. I probably would have just stayed at long. You mean typically what you see is a 2-1-2 or a 3-1-1 on Dust 2 from the CT side, like 2B, 1 mid, or 2A, or you see 3A, 1B, 1 mid. If you see this opera here, I mean, it wasn't the greatest information. It doesn't really tell you what they're doing. But if you kill this opera here, chances are they probably won't have another opera in A. I know it's really low elo or ranks that you're playing in, so it's kind of hard to predict what they'll do. But I wouldn't have forfeited long control. I would have definitely just gone out, jumped into pit, and just made the CT's life a lot harder, especially with this long control. You can split A super easily. You can even lurk at long while your team works B, and you can try to catch some rotators coming through CT and whatnot. I mean, this couldn't carry over to some other maps. You know, you don't want to forfeit this map control so fast. This molly, you're not really mollying anything, and it looks like you're trying to set up a mid to B smoke. So it looks like you're gonna extinguish that molly. Again, your utility usage is kind of in disarray. Either you don't buy any utility when you can afford it, or you use it at the wrong time. Saving that molly for like at an A plat or for like mollying back plat at B or something would have been a lot more beneficial, or even just mollying up close doors. Throwing the molly through the doors like this, you're really not preventing anything or doing much with that. So just keep that in mind. Here, the push into upper B, it's kind of hard to predict, but I'm not sure if you have this mini map zoomed out. And just glancing over every once in a while and just seeing that your team has never been in tunnels, which could sort of tell you what could happen. Just got to be aware of what your team is doing. You can't always rely, especially at low ranks like this, for your teammate to calm everything perfectly. Usually your team will say that they could have pushed tunnels, or I died in tunnels or something, but it looks like your team doesn't communicate this. You don't notice and nobody's been in tunnels, and they just push right through and you get killed here. We'll skip the rest of this. Like I mentioned before, you buy eco weapons when you think or that the CTs are on eco, which is a really good practice to do, especially if you lose a rifle the round before and you still know that they're on eco. Rebuying an SMG and regaining some of that money that you lost by losing armor and utility and a rifle is a really good idea. So not sure if you did this on purpose, but it's a really good play. Again, nobody's watching upper. As soon as your team just runs out lower, your teammate runs out lower like this, you just gotta pick what you're gonna be watching. It looks like you guys opted for like some sort of default. Just you got to be aware of what your team's doing, especially at these low ranks. They're not going to communicate, and just glancing at your minimap will, tell you what's going on. As soon as your teammate just left upper, you should have been that guy to just turn around. You have an SMG. You're probably not going to win a fight from lower to cat with an ump against an M4. It's possible, but you're more than likely to get a kill if somebody's pushing through upper tunnels. This guy gets into spawn. Yeah, he gets killed eventually. So again, you have some utility. You had money for at least a smoke or a flash or something. Crossing doors is a. I know it's just an eco round, but you didn't get punished for it. But just keep in mind, you want to jiggle peek this door just in case there's somebody holding it with like a scout or something, or an op on a rifle round, or a full buy round rather. And the plant here at the double stack, not a really big fan of it. You can get spammed through the box here from the door. Even if you smoke this door off, it's pretty easy to line up the spam. You can just peer over the smoke on top of the boxes, jump down, and then you can just spray. The plant that I recommend to a lot of people is just right underneath the B, or like the default. And you can watch it from tunnels. You can watch it from like on plat here. There's a lot more options for a post plant and for defense than planning here at the triple stack. Go back to your POV. Let's skip the rest of this. This is the round where you go for a re-peek when you missed the first few shots. You just keep re-peeking and you end up losing a really expensive weapon and really early in the round, and you put your team into a 4v5. We'll just let this play out. Again, you go for a re-peek, and then they boost and they end up killing you. Kind of unfortunate, but there was no reason to just keep re-peeking. It wasn't worth the risk. Here, you want to be at the same pace as your teammate. If he's starting to swing, you should probably swing with him. The thing about this is corner smoke, which is not a bad thing to do. You just got to be aware that they can be lurking in the smoke. So pumping a few bullets into the smoke just to be safe is usually a good idea. And you end up getting killed by an auto sniper. Really, really bad luck. We'll just skip through the freeze time. Here you go for a really risky play and it works out. You just rush a mid to B. And you're playing really low rank, so you're able to get away with stuff like this. Just keep in mind that you probably don't want to do that at your higher ranks, especially without a flash or even mid to B smoke. You get the drop on him, and you guys end up winning the round anyway. We'll skip through this round. Actually, you know what? We'll go back. We'll talk about the post plant, actually. Go back to your... Okay, so you have a teammate in tunnels, correct? He's able to get this guy in spawn, but you still are like way too concerned with the tunnel push. You know your teammate's still alive. If you have your minimap zoomed out, or you just glance at it, you should be able to see that your teammate's still alive here in tunnels. And you should be helping your teammates by watching door or watching window. Here, holding this angle is super risky. You don't want to just hold corners. In older versions of Counter-Strike, you were able to get away with just holding corners, but with the peeker's advantage and all the stuff surrounding that, you probably want to just be jiggle peeking this, or you can actually get on top of this ledge right here, and you're able to peer over the box and look into doors. Or you could have taken a really weird angle onto window. You could have just sat on the default plant spot, which is a really good place to hold the retake from. There's a lot of things you could have done, setting up a crossfire with your teammates and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind next time you're in a post plant here at MP. Skip that. We'll skip this freeze time. A nice little pop flash. You don't land it as consistent though. I think this is like the only time you actually are able to land it. Looks like your team's doing a default, and I don't know how the CTs totally missed that. The CTs push all the way into spawn. That's pretty crazy. But you're disciplined enough to hold your spot, and you don't push like right away or leave the upper push. But right as I say that, you do a Stewie flash. What you could have done here is just time this a little bit better. You probably want to push as soon as your teammate is able to like peer into the site. The time's a little off. The way this timing works, this guy had plenty of time to kill you and then to kill your teammate. I'm not sure if I think he does. Oh, no, okay. I mean, these little mistakes can cost you rounds, right? Just this timing. All you had to do is just wait, like, maybe 2 more seconds, and you probably would have killed this guy, and you would have been alive. The auto sniper is probably not the greatest investment. I mean, unless you're completely slaughtering the other team and it's close to the last round or the last round of the half, just buying auto snipers and spamming the door is something you could have coordinated. But It's tied 5-5, and you're on the favored side. So dropping an investment of uh, an auto sniper is probably not the greatest idea. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a CT auto. I take that back. It's a 4v1. You just, I'll just get the rest of this round. Again, the utility usage here. That molly goes absolutely nowhere. You're able to pick up 2 kills long, and you have the A side. Looks like you set up a one-way here. It's not a bad play. Very situational though. I probably wouldn't rely too much on that one-way. And we'll skip the rest of this round. In this round, you just failed to check your corners here. And this guy surprises you. Gotta check those corners. Yeah, you gotta work on this flashbang here if you're gonna do this pop flash. It's just a waste of your utility if you're not gonna land it or do anything with it. Right here, I probably would just naded this guy. You don't. You had 2 flashes. That's unfortunate. Here, the pop flash, like behind a smoke like this, is typically a good idea if you're gonna like go through the smoke, or if you're trying to just guarantee that you're able to cross, even if you're not sure if the smoke is still up. Just wasting your utility is not a really good idea. Save that utility and do something with these flashes and whatnot. Again, like you use that flashbang while the smoke is still up, right? And then you continue to just spam through it. All right, what you could have done here is when you know the smoke is faded, you could have used the flash to try to get yourself out, or when the smoke was up, just get yourself out of this corner, and then work with your team to get up cat or something. You just die really early in the round, and it's kind of a questionable play here. So just keep in mind, you know, when to use utility is huge. We'll skip the rest of this. We'll skip through the freeze time. Right here, you guys kill 2 guys mid, and you kill 1 guy coming out of B. And I think one of your teammates died at long, so you know that there's at least 1 more dude here at A. I'm not sure why you guys opt to go towards A anyway. You had free access to B, you know, just keeping track of where you're getting certain kills and whatnot is really going to help you in the long run. You don't get punished for it. I mean, it was a 4v2. It's kind of hard to throw away these type of scenarios, but it works out in your favor. You win the round. On your pistol, you opt to get a nade and no kit or other type of utility. Typically, what you'll see is 1 guy with a kit and like 4 armor, or kit in a smoke or something, you don't really just buy an HE. You want to have a plan with your utility, or just hitting tab and seeing who if anybody already has a kit and just buying a kit on your pistols. Your best bet. This guy T's rush B. Uh, I'm not sure if you guys like coordinated anything, but just waiting like one more second so you can have all three of your teammates just come in all at the same time would have been the best play, but you guys end up winning it anyway. It's not the end of the world. We're just trying to like minimize these little mistakes. Again, you buy an eco weapon, which is not bad. You're gonna net yourself 1,800 on this round. I think you get 3 kills. It's not bad. And you should know that they're able to buy on this round. You do a really risky play here. It kind of pays off. You get a 2-for-1 trade. But again, you're alone here at Long A. You have nobody to sort of like support you, and you end up losing this round. I'm not sure how your team's able to lose a round, but it's just really unfortunate. Again, here you try to set up your one way, and your team is starting to troll. It's not a bad retake. I think your teammate is at this point just start trolling. There's really not much to say from this point on. I guess we can like skip through the map, but the rest of the map. But there's not much to say at this point. I mean, it's really shitty. I already talked to you about what we can do as far as like another demo review. But at this point, I can't really put any input. Your teammates are dinking you, TKing you, team flashing, and they're throwing the game at this point. It's just really out of your control. There's not much you can do. It's just the consequences of playing the Valve matchmaking at really low ranks. However, everything else that we've talked or I've talked about up to this point can be really valuable and help you in your future games, and definitely can carry over to different maps and to higher ranks. So definitely keep buying those eco weapons. I would zoom out your minimap. You can do that in your options and game options, and it's towards the bottom. It'll be like your radar zoom setting, and just zoom that out a little bit. Actually, just take a look. Oh, I gotta get rid of that. It's in your game settings. Then your radar options inside your game settings right here. I have mine set to 0.45. I don't like having it all the way zoomed out. I like to have it a little bit zoomed in, but I'm still able to see the vast majority of the map. And just you can't really rely on your teammates to calm everything, so that's a really important thing to have. And you're just glancing at your minimap every once in a while to see what's going on around the map. It's going to help you in the long run. If you're going to buy a HE on your CT pistol, at least buy a kit, or somebody has to buy a kit, or you can just opt to armor up instead, using your utility a little bit more wisely, not re-peeking in certain situations. And that's really about it, man. That's all I got. I really hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right, man. Good luck.